dropshipping, white labeling, print on demand, wholesaling, last but certainly not least, and that is... In today's video, we're going to be talking about some of the best ways that you can start selling online. We're going to be talking about everything that there is to know, along with some of the best products that you can sell for each one of these different e-commerce methods. So if you've been wanting to get your e-commerce business up off the floor and finally started, but you're not entirely sure which kind of e-commerce business you actually want to start, then this video is exactly what you need to finally make that decision and get started. Now, before we get started with the different types of e-commerce businesses that there are, let's first get started talking about what the benefits are to actually selling online. What's the big deal about opening up an online store versus opening up a brick and mortar store or a physical store? Well, for one, when you compare the two, really selling online is going to be the better option simply because the startup costs are going to be so much lower. It's going to be so much easier for you to get started selling online versus a brick and mortar store simply because you're not going to be putting up as much upfront cash. Think about it. When you're selling online, the only thing that you really have to think about paying upfront is going to be sometimes products, if that's the route you decide to go, but you don't even have to pay for inventory most of the time. A lot of the times, all you really have to pay for is going to be your website, if you even decide to go that route, or simply just fees for a marketplace that you're selling on, which in this case, you can pretty much start with $0. Now, a little bit more on that later, but just stay tuned because I am going to tell you how you can get started selling online for free a little bit later on in the video. Now, compare that to opening up a brick and mortar store or a physical store. One, you're going to need inventory. That's something that you're going to have to put down money for, so you're going to need a budget for that. Two, you actually need to pay for the location. And with the way renting prices are right now, that's not a very good investment. Pricing right now for offices, apartments, literally anything is insanely expensive. So in order to even start to break even, you need to have a solid customer base. So as you can see, getting started selling online is a lot easier and way cheaper than physically selling in a store. Another thing is that you're going to have a way broader reach when you're selling online versus a physical brick and mortar store. The reason for this is because you have social media. On top of that, anybody in the entire country can access your online store, or even anybody in the entire world for that matter, if you choose to sell worldwide. But let's say you open up a physical store in, I don't know, California, then only the people that are local to that store, only the people that are around that store are going to be going to that store, if they even know about it. So selling online is a great way to reach a way broader audience. Also, you're not stuck behind a desk or you're not stuck inside a store. If you're selling online, the only thing you have to have is really your computer or your laptop. And even then, sometimes just your phone will suffice. And speaking about being behind a counter, you don't have to hire anybody to be behind the counter either. So you're going to be saving money on employees. But not just that, you can also sell around the clock, even while you're sleeping. This isn't something that you can do with a physical store simply because it's going to be way too expensive to employ somebody to be behind the counter 24/7, or it's just going to take way too much time on your part. And last but not least, if you're selling online, it's a lot easier to keep track of inventory. You don't have to keep track of physical inventory because a lot of the times when you're selling online, like I said, you don't always have to purchase inventory beforehand. So you're not really going to be keeping track of inventory. If you're using a supplier that's shipping out these products for you, like if you're drop shipping, a little bit more on that later, then they're the ones that are going to keep up with the inventory. You just have to make sure that they're not sold out. But there's tons of different tools that can just take care of that for you. So you don't even have to worry about that. All right, so now that we know the benefits of starting your own online business, let's talk about the different types of online businesses or e-commerce businesses that there are. And the first one is going to be probably the most popular one and one of the easiest to get into, which is going to be dropshipping. Now, what exactly is dropshipping? So dropshipping is none other than a fulfillment business model, meaning all you're really doing is fulfilling orders. So somebody comes to your store, your online store, of course, and they place an order for a t-shirt for $25. Now, instead of you having to print that t-shirt or simply just pack it up and send it off to your customer, what happens is you take that order and you forward it to your supplier. Now your supplier takes care of that order, they take care of the manufacturing, they take care of the fulfillment, and they ship it out. Now, once they're done with that, they'll provide your customer with a tracking number and you get charged. Your customer paid $25, you get charged about $10, the remaining $15, that's your profit. Besides that, that's really all there is to it. As you can see, it's very simple and it follows everything that we talked about earlier. So for one, it has a low startup cost. You really don't have to pay for anything when it comes to dropshipping until you actually get an order. Now, for the most part, this is going to be a lot easier done with a platform like Etsy, even though now they do have a $15 sign up fee. So to sign up with Etsy, you do have to pay 15 bucks. But besides that, you don't really have to pay for anything until you actually get an order. Same thing goes for eBay. With eBay, you can actually get started for 100% free. You can open up your account, start listing different items, and then when you get an order, then that's when you pay for the item and then have your supplier fulfill it for you. You also have the broad customer reach because you're selling online, you're marketing on places like TikTok. So you're going to be able to sell to the entire US or the entire world. Obviously, you're doing this from your computer, so you can do this from pretty much anywhere you have internet connection. And most importantly, it's easier to scale. Dropshipping is one of the easiest businesses that you have to scale simply because you have the option to include automation. Now, what exactly is automation? Well, simply put, automation is when you automate something. Obviously, right? It's in the name. But no, it's when you can pretty much get a task to get done without you having to do it. So when you automate, let's say your product importing, you're doing everything through a system rather than doing it manually. Now, instead of explaining this to you, let me just go ahead and show you. So right now we're over at the marketplace over at AutoDS.com. Now, if you're not signed up to AutoDS just yet, you can get started right now to enjoy the benefits of automation for just $1 for the next 2 weeks. Now, when I'm talking about automation, this is what I'm talking about. You see all of these different products. If I want to import these different products to my store, typically if you're doing it the manual way, you're going to have to go into the product, save all of the images, copy over the title, copy over the description, copy over the variations, copy over the pricing. And honestly, it's fine if you're doing it for maybe 2 or 3 products. But if you start doing it for 10, 20, 40, 50 products, you're going to be in front of your computer for quite a few hours, if not a few days, doing the exact same thing over and over. So when you automate the entire process, you're pretty much streamlining the entire thing. So check this out. Instead of copying over everything manually, let's say I want to import these LED strips. All I have to do is simply click on import draft, and that's it. The entire product is going to be imported to my draft section where I can then later go into it and make any changes before having it go live on my store. So as you can see, that part was just sped up insanely. Now, besides that, you also have different suppliers through AutoDS where you can enjoy a lot of other benefits, including fast shipping, branding, and specially discounted prices. But besides that, let me show you another example on how you can start importing products using automation with multiple products. So check out this radio right here. Let's go ahead and take this link. Let's run back over to AutoDS. Let's click on add products and multiple products. From here, we're going to type in the link and press enter. Then we're going to look for a different product. Let's say this radio right here. We're going to opening up a new Radio Shack, I guess. And then we're going to take this link as well, run back over to AutoDS and then paste it right under. You can do this as many times as you want. Then once you're done and you're satisfied with the amount of products that you want to import, just click on add as draft. And each one of those products will individually be imported to your draft section. Now, not only that, pretty much the entire business of dropshipping can be automated, whether it's the product importing, the keeping track of supplier stocks or their prices, or even fulfilling your orders. AutoDS will do the entire thing for you. It will automate your entire dropshipping business. So that way, all you have to do is focus on doing more product research, bringing in more winning products, and scaling your business, which is really what we all want to do, right? We want to make sure our business gets as big as possible. And in order to do this, we need to implement some sort of system that can help us out, with automation from AutoDS being probably the best way to get started scaling your business. I'm also going to have an easy to reference cheat sheet with all of the different tips, tricks, and the different business models that I'm going to be talking about in today's video. If you want access to that, just go ahead and drop a comment down below with the hashtag e-commerce and let me know what your takeaway is from this video. Once I see that you went ahead and did that, I'll reply back with a link to the sheet. Now, next up, we have print on demand. Now, the example I gave you before for dropshipping, that really works for any product. You can use it for t-shirts, you can use it for phone cases, you can use it for pop sockets, whatever it is. But with print on demand, this is something that's very similar to dropshipping, except it has a bit of a twist. So with print on demand, you have the option to customize a lot of different products to your liking. You can put your own design on t-shirts, on tumblers, on sweaters, hoodies, whatever it is. And if you want a full catalog of all of the different products that you can offer with print on demand, then you can check out AutoDS as well. AutoDS is also a print-on-demand supplier. So really quick, jumping back over to AutoDS, let's go over to the print-on-demand section. And these are all of the different products that you have access to through AutoDS that you can customize. So anything that says AutoDS, you can replace that with your logo. You can replace that with any design that you want. You want to start a brand, this is the way to do it. Besides that though, there's a lot of other products. Like you have shorts over here, you have button-down shirts. These over here that are beige around the entire garment, that means you can print on the entire thing, not just the middle or just the back. You can print on all of it. But then if you keep scrolling, you can see that you have more unique items like hats, phone cases, mugs. You even have masks, which some people still wear masks, stickers, wall posters, ornaments. The possibilities are endless. And these are all fully customizable. So similar to dropshipping, with print on demand, you don't have to have any inventory. Everything is produced after the order is placed. If creativity is your thing, if you've been wanting to start a brand, if you like designing, print on demand could potentially be the business model for you. Print on demand could be the exact business model that you've been needing to start. And to get started, honestly, you don't even need that much. The only thing you would need is going to be your e-commerce platform, so where you're going to be selling online, which for print on demand, my suggestion is always going to be Etsy. You can get started on Shopify and create your own brand and all that. That's fine. That's definitely one avenue. But based on personal experience, I've always had massive success on Etsy. And I highly suggest you check it out because that's the place for these kinds of items. That's one of the best marketplaces for this niche. Now, the next business model is going to be white labeling. White labeling is perfect for anybody who wants to start their own brand and market different types of products as their own. So with white labeling, what you get access to is tons of different products with a white label, not literally, but that white label can be customized. So in this business model, it's going to be a lot different than the past two that I talked about, simply because you are going to have a startup cost. Most of the times when a company is giving you the option to be able to brand their products or to rebrand their products as your own, a lot of the times you're not going to be able to get started with just one. What you're going to have to do is purchase in bulk. Once you purchase in bulk, typically there is going to be a minimum that you need to order. Then you can start customizing the branding, the labeling, the colors, everything that you need to. But with that being said, you do have the possibility and the potential for way higher profits, simply because when you have a product branded as your own, or it looks like a legit brand, the perceived value on it is a lot higher than generic or non-branded products. Now, white labeling is an awesome business venture, but really this is one of those business ventures that you want to start getting into after you've gained a little bit of experience. So it would be really good to get started with dropshipping. And then once you have an established brand with dropshipping, once you've already found your niche, you found the different types of products that work for you, then you can start looking for a supplier that can offer you these different types of products with the customization that you want or that you need. Now, the reason for this is because you are going to have to put down money for the bulk order, like I said at the beginning. With white labeling, you're going to have the minimum order quantity. So you want to make sure that you already have an established customer base that you know is going to be interested in these products. Now, as far as the costs for starting, this is really going to vary depending on the supplier, but some places can estimate maybe 500, of course, depending on the product. Some other places can start you off at 1,000. Some might start you off at 10,000. Some maybe even at 30,000. It's really all going to depend on the product, the supplier, the quality, how much the minimum order quantity is, and where everything is shipping from. So your best bet for this is get started with something like dropshipping or print on demand first, build a solid foundation, and then start looking into different suppliers that can provide you with white labeling services. Now, if you want a service that's similar to white label services, then you can check out the AutoDS private suppliers, because some of them do offer a type of customized branding. While it's not the same type of branding as white labeling, it is somewhat similar in terms of being able to print your brand or your logo. So what happens in this case is you're going to look for the AutoDS suppliers through the marketplace. And when you find a product that has this right here, the customizable branding, then you're going to be able to upload your logo. And then that logo is going to be printed on both the invoice and a custom thank you card. That custom thank you card, while to some people it might not seem like a lot, to the customers, it really does add that personal touch, and it makes it feel like you're the one that's fulfilling the orders. So it is something that customers appreciate, and a lot of the times it's something that convinces them to come back and place another order. All right, our fourth business model is going to be wholesaling. Now, with wholesaling, what you're going to be doing is you're going to be selling multiple products, or You can sell one product at a cheaper price. It's really going to depend on you. Now with wholesaling, a lot of the times what this is going to consist of is, again, purchasing products in bulk so you can get that better pricing. Once you get that bulk pricing, then you can break that order down into smaller orders and be able to offer these small bulk orders still at a marked up price, but at still a lower price than retail, if that makes sense. So let's say you bought 100 products. Those 100 products cost you $100, but retail, each one of those products can be sold at, I don't know, $5. So really, if you sell everything at retail price, you'll be selling everything for about $500. Now, what you're going to be doing with wholesaling is you just purchased these 100 products, right? You can take maybe 25 of those products and sell them at $2.50 or $3. While it's still going to be under retail, you're still going to be making a profit and you're going to be selling them in bulk. You're going to be selling them at wholesale. So what happens with wholesale and when you're offering bulk orders or bulk prices to your customers, you're going to be getting a lot more sales with less profit. So while you are going to have more sales, you're going to be having less profit. But at the end of the day, that can kind of pretty much even out or average out to having less sales and more profit. It's just two different ends of the spectrum. It's really going to depend on what you're more comfortable with or what your audience or what your customer base is looking for. Now, one of the biggest benefits to holding your own inventory is being able to keep track of the quality. When you're drop shipping or when you're doing print on demand, sometimes if you don't have the right supplier, this can get challenging. And sometimes suppliers might send out bad products, which at the end of the day will look bad on you. So one big positive factor in holding your own inventory with wholesaling or with white label products is going to be the fact that you can in fact keep track of the product quality. But because of the fact that you're holding on to so much inventory, you're going to have to be able to manage that inventory. And some people might find this easy. Some people might find this challenging. Some people might do it manually. Some people might have a software for it. So this is something, again, that you're going to have to be comfortable with and just something that you're going to have to expect in this type of e-commerce business. Now, as far as the cost per starting for wholesaling, you can expect it to be just around the same for white labeling because it's really going to vary depending on the supplier, the minimum order quantity, the type of product, and all of those different factors. All right, last but certainly not least, at number 5, this e-commerce business model is one that you've definitely seen before without even thinking about it or even associating it to an e-commerce business model. And that is subscription services. So have you ever seen Tokyo Treat or Loot Crate or Oats Overnight? Well, the one thing that these 3 businesses have in common is the fact that they're all subscription services. So every single month, all of their subscribers get charged to their credit cards, to their bank accounts, to their debit cards, whatever it is, and they get their product either at the beginning, middle, or end of the month. Now, this is something that is insanely lucrative simply because a lot of people forget to cancel their subscriptions, which is, it's true because that's kind of how gyms work too, right? But besides that, the subscription service is something that's actually very helpful for customers. And not only that, it's actually really good for us because it can provide us with a steady source of income. Now, what exactly is a subscription service? Well, like I mentioned earlier, it's something that you're going to get charged for every single month because you're going to be receiving a product every single month, hence the subscription. Now, the examples that I gave you are just a few. You can really have a subscription service for just about anything. It can be for t-shirts, trending products for the month, seasonal products, food, games, any category or any niche that you can think of. As long as all of the products inside that box or inside the subscription service are relevant, you can get started with a subscription service and be making consistent money every single month. Now, in order to get this started, this is something that you are going to have to reach out to different suppliers for. So you're going to have to find a supplier that offers a type of subscription service where you can ask them to put together a box with different types of products in it, or it doesn't even have to be different types of products. It could be maybe one product every single month in a different category, the same niche, or however it is that you choose to structure it. But the whole point is that every single month, your customer is going to be getting a product, and every single month that customer is going to be put on auto pay. So that way you don't even have to worry about charging them. They don't have to worry about paying for everything. It's just going to be recurring each and every month. Now, what are some of the best products that you can start selling for each one of these different business models? Well, stay tuned because I'm about to give you a quick list of some of the most popular niches that you can get started selling online. And the first one is going to be health and beauty. Health and beauty has been on the rise for the past few years, and it's a niche that it's not slowing down. Health and beauty is something that's going to keep on growing because people, as they age, people are going to keep wanting to take care of themselves more and more. Home decor and garden is also another great niche that you can get into because a lot of the different products in the home and garden niche, sometimes they can be high ticket products, meaning that they can be sourced at a fairly low price and be sold at a pretty big markup to bring in a big profit. The cool thing about home and garden is that you don't only have to target people that, have their own houses or have their own apartments. You can also be targeting people that work in the niche or work in the business, like let's say interior designers or construction companies. These are all different products that they can pick up on and they can start adding them to either the different projects, their different jobs, or whatever it is. So you have a pretty broad audience with this niche. Of course, consumer electronics is always going to be something that's consistently growing. It's always evolving, and each and every year there's brand new products. Every single year, everyone wants the new iPhone. Every single year with that new iPhone, people need to buy a new case, or they need to buy a new ring light for their camera, or whatever it may be. At the end of the day, consumer electronics is a niche that it's always evolving and it's always going to keep growing. And no matter what, there's always going to be demand for this niche. This is an evergreen niche that people use every single day, one way or another. Now, this next niche is one that is actually my favorite. And I've said it over and over again, but pet products and pet supplies is a massively lucrative niche simply because people absolutely love their pets. People love their pets like they're their kids. So because of that, people aren't scared to spend a pretty penny on their pet's comfort. Now, speaking of not being scared to spend money on comfort, kids' toys and kids' supplies, same thing. Parents, most of the times, are not going to be shy about spending money on their kids, whether it's for their health, their well-being, their entertainment, whatever it is. Parents want the best for their kids. So kids' toys, perfect niche. Kids' toys is especially good for times like Christmas. During Christmas, this niche picks up so much that you have the potential for so much profit if you have the right products, if you've been following the trends that have been leading up to Christmas. And the last niche I'm going to cover is going to be apparel and accessories. Now, apparel and accessories can be used with any of the business models that I talked about, but in particular, the best one has to be either dropshipping or print on demand. Primarily, print on demand, simply because you have the option to be able to customize all of these different products and really just have an endless amount of different types of products that you can offer your customers, or different variations in a few different niches. So those were the different business models that you can get started online. All of these different e-commerce businesses are fairly easy to get started in. Of course, some of these are going to require a bit more budget than others, but let me know what your thoughts are down in the comments below. Remember, if you want access to the cheat sheet, just go ahead and comment the hashtag e-commerce and let me know what your takeaway is from the video so you can get access to the cheat sheet with all of the different information that I talked about in this video. Also, if you want to read up a little bit more on the topic or on the different e-commerce businesses, just go ahead and check out the description down below. There's going to be a link to a relevant article down there. Huge thank you to everyone for watching, especially if you made it all the way to the end. As always, it truly means the world to me. Please, if you're still here, make sure you smash that like button, hit that subscribe button, and ring that little bell notification so you don't miss out on any future videos. My name is Mario with AutoDS, wishing you all nothing but success in your dropshipping business, and I'll catch you all next time.